Connection with Shade Network activated. Audio file download commencing. Files marked extremely sensitive. Strategic Homeland Division only. Agent, commencing transmission.
What's up, agents? You listen to episode 165 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of the Division 2. Today we're discussing Title Update 5 and the big changes that are coming to skills. But first, my name is Mike, and joining me, as always, technically, is my co-host Rob, who's actually not here today. He's on his honeymoon at the minute, but he will be back next week.
How is he technically joining you then if he's not here?
Technically not joining me, should I say. Is what I meant to say.
Right. This is going to be fun.
Wow. I mean, Rob's not even here and we're fucking up. It's fine. But luckily, you know, I've still got Luke here to keep me back on track.
Yeah, spoiler, I was already talking. How you doing?
I'm doing good, dude. And I hope yourself and our listeners have had a great week. And welcome to any new listeners of the show. And I know it's been damn hot, so this episode could be like 5 minutes long or 2 hours. We'll see.
It's not going to be 2 hours. Just a quick heads up, because I've not done it for a while. If you like what we do here on the regular podcast and you feel like you want to support the show in any way, shape or form, feel free to head over to patreon.com/SITREP Radio. We do post bonus stuff from the show over there, and we also do an additional monthly episode that's just for our Patreon subscribers and listeners. It's a bit more unchained than our usual podcasts, and we're definitely all drunk when we record them.
Yes.
Usually a fun time had. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing like this one, I would say. Is that a fair statement to make? With regards to, like, well, first of all, it's not really on the Division.
There are bits of this one sprinkled in, because every once in a while, me or Rob will call you the C word, and vice versa, you call it us back. And there's a lot of that in the Patreon episodes. Yeah. Like I said before, we're drunk, so...
Well, I would expect that, but content-wise, it's
content-wise,
it's free-for-all.
Free-for-all, we'll literally talk about anything but the Division.
Yeah, last month we sat down for 2 hours and we recorded a comment. I don't know if it was a reactionary or a commentary for Blazing Saddles.
I think it was a mix of both, because me and Rob had never seen it before, so that was very reactionary. But you were commentating on the bits that you could. I mean,
commentate on technically.
Yeah, there's not really spoilers for that film. I was going to say the bits you couldn't spoil, but that would have been wrong. But I think it went down quite well. I had a good time recording it. That's pretty.
Yes, I did. I still want to try another one. But anyway, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, or if you just want to support the show, like we said, in any shape or form, go over and check out our Patreon. That'd be awesome. Thank you very much. Luke, how's your week been in the Division? Obviously, we had Gunner drop last week. Was it last week?
It was last week.
It feels like it was ages ago. Was it 2 weeks ago?
No, it was last week.
It's been a long ass week.
What day is it? Wednesday. Yeah, it was last week, because I didn't play this weekend because I was stupendously drunk all weekend. So yeah.
Yeah, you were watching the racing or something.
Yeah, it's a little side thing that me and one of my friends like to do is just watch the 24-hour races whenever we can. So,
dude, do you know I had a slight hope because it was my birthday this weekend. I was like, oh, Luke's saying he's busy because he's going to come down to see me. And then I was like,
oh, rip.
Fuck yeah, he's watching the race. Oh, that sucks.
September, dude, September.
Yes. But yeah, it's been a good week. We did the raid. Amongst all the problems that are kind of going on with the raid at the minute, there's been some difficulty issues with definitely Buddy and Lucy with regards to the health glitch. Apparently it's a glitch.
Yeah, it's a... How do they put it on the... Because they've identified it on the forums. They said it was an unintentional... No, Jesus Christ. An unintentional change to Buddy's healing behavior. I think what's happening is he's sort of double healing.
Yes.
He's getting double the power almost of his heal. I've also noticed the last couple of times we've tried it, because we've tried it quite a bit since this problem came around. We have actually completed the raid once with this problem being in the game. But
Yeah, it's not stopping you, is it? Really? Yeah, I mean, if you've got the team, you got the tools, you got the talent, you can get it done.
It is still possible, yeah, definitely. It's not impossible, but it certainly does make that particular encounter quite a lot more difficult. Everything's got to fall just your way.
Yeah.
But I personally think their actual behaviour mechanisms have changed slightly, because Lucy's been a lot more of a pain in the arse than I remember her being.
Yeah, I've actually used the laptop a lot over the last week to basically pull aggro.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting because we didn't really have to do that before, but I kind of like that addition. As much as I don't like the fact, obviously, that we've got like a bug in the game, I kind of like it because it changes it up slightly. Do you know what I mean? It'd be quite nice if they changed the behavior of Buddy and Lucy, or just change the whole encounter over time, because obviously you've got that variation. You got to be a little bit more on your toes. I know Foxy hates it when we all start shit talking, and because he's like, "Can't you guys shut the fuck up for 5 minutes?" It's like, well, we know what we're doing, right? We got it down. But you throw something like that in there, it really kind of, you got to kind of shut up and get on with it, sort of thing. And I don't know, it made it a bit more interesting this week. As for Gunner, I'm really enjoying that specialization. I just need a little bit more ammo, and I've only just got to the 40% increased specialization damage. So don't know yet. I don't know how happy I am with the amount of damage, but everything else on that is pretty fucking OP.
Cool.
I don't know how have you used it much, or?
Not used it at all yet.
You not used it at all?
No.
What were you Did you not use it whilst we were running those missions to actually get spec points for it?
No. I'll be honest, I've been enjoying the increased amount of damage that you can do with the survivalist crossbow since TU4 dropped, because they've buffed the crossbow and the TAC 50, haven't they, since TU4? So
yes,
I've actually been using my crossbow.
I used my crossbow in the raid. Previously, I was running demolition.
Literally the only time I've ever used my crossbow is in the raid.
Yeah, I switched out last week because obviously it's always good to have more survivalists or more crossbows, especially at the Razorback encounter. And I was just like, I'm going to change it up because I'm not tied to, what was it? I can't even remember what it was before. Was it Demolitionist or
what?
Because of the LMG. I think it was Demolitionist because of the LMG damage.
I think you're right, yeah, because Survivalist is AR.
But yeah, not anymore.
Makes sense. Yeah, now you can just spec into all three, can't you? So,
yeah, now you can spec into all three. It's you're not kind of shoehorned into one specialization or another. But yeah, I really enjoyed that, and it was a lot of fun kind of just doing something completely different. Because you kind of get set, you run with your set team, you end up with your set jobs, and it's quite good with our raid team because we kind of end up in different positions doing different jobs all the time. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
I think it helps that you need 8 people for the raid, so there's literally always somebody that can't do it, isn't there? So
yeah,
this week Rob can't do it. Kibuki Q's been missing quite a few times because he's gone back to work. Time zones mean that Tink sometimes can do it, sometimes can't do it. Doc sometimes can do it, can't do it. Blah blah blah. We've got like a set 14 or 15 people, and we just throw it out there as to who's the other 5 that can come and run it with us 3. And now obviously this week Rob's missing. It's who can come and run it with us 2.
Yeah, it's been quite nice. I understand obviously matchmaking is a huge issue in the community with regards to like running the raid, but we haven't always got an additional person or 2 people. We sometimes do struggle to find people. We might have like 14 people, but like they might not all be available at once, sort of thing. So even out of those 14 people who do raid during the week and do play the game quite a lot, it might not all line up, will it?
I imagine a lot of people suffer with the same problems that we suffer with, i.e. you've got a set amount of time in any given day where you can game, and that doesn't always line up with the other 7 people that you need to play with. Like me, you and Rob are pretty much set in stone that we'll be on anywhere from 8 till 9 o'clock and onwards.
Well, it's in our contract, so
yeah. Boris lines up with that quite nicely because he's addicted to the game. Foxy is usually playing Tarkov so we can drag him into Division for a raid because he is a glutton for punishment, apparently. And then, as I say, you've got a few of us that are in and around the game on any given day at any given time. It usually syncs up quite nicely, but not always.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
sometimes you're waiting, sometimes you're not. It really just depends what day you're hitting. And all you got to do is say tacos and Rempency from Bombshell Jackets will be there, you know.
I can understand how people would struggle. So, yes, I understand the clamour for matchmaking. Part of me says just give it to them and let them figure out for themselves how bad it would be. And part of me says, no, don't, because you're just creating a rod for your own back then, because they'll just blame Massive and Ubisoft and whoever else that the matchmaking's so bad. So...
yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is just going to be an ongoing fight. And I can understand, like, you've got people from Destiny that come to the Division, they can kind of understand that, but then you've also got people that have never played raids before, and they're like, well, I should be able to run it. But until you get in that situation, it's something I don't think you quite understood properly until we actually ran that first week of the raid, trying to do that with competent, what you hope your friends are competent people, if you know what I mean. To then go run with a bunch of randoms. I'm not saying you can't do it. You can do it. But at least at that point, it's your choosing. You've not got like two people that are like, fuck it, we'll try the raid, and then don't care. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You've got 6 or 7 other people there that actually want to get it done and are trying their hardest, and maybe like one dude's just fucking around the entire time. You don't know, do you? It's really difficult. I mean, I just hope by the time the second raid comes around, they do have something in place, whether it's an LFG system. I wouldn't mind a system where we get, I don't know, not necessarily a full team of matchmaking, but potentially you've got 2 teams of 4 in different clans and you matchmake them together.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Because to me, if you got people in clans, they're dedicated enough. If you can find 4 people in a clan, especially at this point in the game, because you know some clans aren't very active, some are, and then the idea is that the fact, you know, you should be playing in theory you can be playing with people in your clan, so you know how the team works together, and you kind of get split up and all the rest of it anyway. So I think having that kind of style matchmaking would be better, but it's still, I don't know.
What about a weighted matchmaking system where you had to have, so a raid needs 8 people, let's say you have to have 5 or more that are already grouped up, and then you can LFG for the remaining 2 or 3 people?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to probably end up doing something like that. Either 2 teams of 4, or you just matchmaking for 1 or 2 or 3. But the thing is, if you matchmake for 1, 2, or 3, I think people would just say matchmake the whole lot. I think if you give them the option to do that,
I was hinting more towards it being not exactly a Sherpa system, but at least if you've got more than 50% of your group, that's where obviously the 5 people of the 8 comes in. You've still got then a core of the group of the raid team that is communicating and perhaps knows each other from previous experience, where then you can maybe carry is the wrong word, but carry the other 3. And obviously if it's 1 or 2, then it just gets even easier for the organized people, doesn't it? So
yeah, it's definitely a method.
I don't have all the answers, but I definitely agree that just matchmaking 8 random people just will be a horrible time for all involved. Yeah,
I've seen like, I rocked up and I got 8 people together and we had mics and we had communication. And I was like, yeah, but that's a good circumstance. That's not a bad circumstance. And they even said, you know, we'd all done the raid, but therein lies the problem. Yeah. You've got 8 people together, know how to communicate, want to communicate because they've got microphones, and then, you know, they've all done the raid. The other problem that you run into with raids is you always get that one person or 2, like I'll find myself in it, or somebody else will. You know, you get that one person, yes, they've done the raid. I'm not saying they've been carried, but they've just done one job every time they've done the raid, and then you put them in a different position.
Yep.
And even with communication or whatever, it can still fuck up the team because you're trying to put them in a role that they've never done before. And they might not be running, survivalist, with the crossbow to fire arrows at Razorback. So it's a very finicky thing. And I hope whatever they do, it solves the problem. And I hope it's solved before the second raid, because I think there'll be a lot more pissed off people. But if we don't have something by the time the second raid rolls around.
I agree. Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough about that. It's something that I think we're going to end up talking about on off over the next few months, obviously on the lead up to the second raid. But for now, hopefully, Luke, we can lay that one to rest.
Yeah, good luck.
But, as we always say, this is just our thoughts. Let us know what you guys think. Okay, so let's go on with some news.
State of the game.
Okay, so out of nowhere, we have a PTS dropping next week. What the fuck?
Surprise, guys.
Well, I'm pretty sure we said on last week's podcast, we're like, okay, so we're going to get the DLC, episode 1, DC Expeditions, then we'll get a PTS because the game's potentially in a good place now. They've just done that huge bug pass. Obviously, there's a few issues that we'll talk about today. But no. Fuck it. Let's throw another PTS out there. Let's get shit fixed and change some stuff up. So title update 5 will be on a PTS as of next week. If you're on PC, you can try it. Unfortunately, yet again, there's no console PTS. Hopefully they sort something out in the near future, but I don't think we're going to see it just due to how quick. I like to say how quick they're going to be running these PTSs, but the last couple, like the last one was pretty quick, but the one before that was very short, if I remember right. Title update 3 was quite a long time, but title update 4 was quite quick.
Yeah, the last PTS was, I want to say, only like 2 weeks. I
Yeah,
think even in that 2 weeks, they put like 3 builds, I think.
Yeah, that's not something you can do on console.
Oh, God, no. You'd get 1 build out in 2 weeks because it's got to go to third-party verification, hasn't it? So,
well, I think that's half the reason we ended up shifting to PC anyway, because, we're trying to talk about the PTS. We haven't got a chance to test anything. And then we're trying to test the PTS on PlayStation because we were on PlayStation 4 at the time. And you just kind of stuck in this loop of, we're already a week or 2 behind PC, and then we may or may not get an update in the rest of the life cycle of the PTS. I think even one time we didn't even get more than 1 update, or we had 2 updates and we were supposed to get a third one, and it never happened because they just no, close it down. And I think that was about 1.8.
I seem to remember something very similar to that, yeah.
It was either 1.8 or was it? I can't remember. It was after 1.8 because I think we were discussing builds for the gear sets, how they needed balancing a little bit more in Division 1. Anyway, that's been and gone. Don't need to worry about that now. But yeah, apparently it should be opening next week. Reddit seems to think it's coming this Monday. I'm not going to argue with them, but they did say on the State of the Game that the exact schedule will be posted at some point over the weekend. You'll probably see an update on your PTS if you've got it on your PC, and it'll probably be good to go pretty damn quick. Okay, so some of the changes that are going to be coming with the PTS, you got blueprints. So the entire blueprint pool from projects, NAIA, and control points are all shared. So you can, if you've missed one, you can grind them all out of control points. So that's good for those people that just like to grind control points, right, Luke?
Yeah, seems like a good change. I was going to say a logical change, but it's not logical because it's kind of thinking a little bit outside the box, really, because it amalgamates all three of the loot pools of the blueprints together, doesn't it? So it's, I like it. I'm gonna go on.
I was gonna say I like it because it gets you back out in the open world. You're not just doing the raid or Dark Zone. Sorry, that was a joke. That was a joke. Plus, you're not just going to an NPC and buying them. You're going out and you're grinding. You're actually going to do what your level 4 checkpoints to get the blueprints from. I think it's quite a cool change.
Unless they've changed it, you used to be able to get blueprints from control points level 3 and 4.
Oh, is it 3
So,
and 4? Okay.
Yeah, you didn't have to do 4s, but there is a commendation for completing, I believe it's 50 level 4 control points.
I think I've always just done them at 4, like when I've been going after blueprints, so I just took it as...
Yeah, I'm still grinding towards that commendation, to be honest with you. So if I'm going to get some some blueprints as a reward for that, then happy days. As far as I'm aware, Anaya only sold 1 a week per reset, so it would take you forever
Yes.
to buy all the blueprints from her.
And then projects, depending which projects you have to complete. Like, I've
The-
still got a project at the minute that I've had a week after launch because I'm still looking for insulin.
That's like mine with the gold necklace.
Yeah.
And I won't abandon it because I'm a
No, I don't want to abandon
stubborn
it.
motherfucker. But every day I check in just in case I picked up a gold necklace and didn't realize it.
I was just like, what the fuck? I didn't need insulin. Where the fuck do I get insulin from? Oh, it's a random drop.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one. Next up, exotics will be dropping from heroic bosses. Now, I wasn't sure at the time, but I had to go back and double check. So am I right in thinking that if you have picked up an exotic from certain areas, it will now then drop from heroic bosses? I'm guessing this is going to include the raid AR. So if you've picked it up in the raid, in theory, it should drop from heroic bosses.
That is also my understanding of it. They didn't mention the Eagle Bearer at all. Basically, what Hamish and the other guy on State of the Game this week,
Bruce Kelly.
Bruce, thank you very much. Yeah, what Hamish and Bruce were talking about was for craftable exotics, if you've got far enough down the exotic quest so that you own the blueprint for that exotic, they are now in the heroic boss loot pool.
That's quite nice. That's quite a nice change because you haven't got it crafted then, have you?
And then exotics that drop from other bosses, i.e. the Merciless, they will, if you've already had it drop on your account, it goes into the loot pool for heroic bosses too. As I say, they didn't specify whether that did or did not include the Eagle Bearer.
Yeah, I will state that is, they haven't specified that. I did put out a tweet to Thailander earlier, but I'm sure he's busy as hell at the minute.
I'd like to think it does, because if you've been lucky enough to get it from the raid already, what harm is it doing if you're getting it in the open world? Because you've already got it.
No, but don't forget that loot's shareable.
Still, as far as I'm aware, they haven't increased the drop rate, so I think it's still like a 1% chance that you would get an exotic drop.
True.
And then if they're increasing the drop pool, it's even less chance that it will be the Eagle Bearer that drops for you.
Yeah, because I suppose you're going to have your whole pool of exotics in there.
Yeah.
It gives
Plus,
us...
it's heroic bosses, isn't it? So
yeah, I was going to say, it gives us incentive to actually go run heroic missions now, doesn't it?
Because Rob hates running heroic missions, but I bet he'll do it if he can get another Eagle Bearer from it.
Well, we ran heroic missions before they changed the AI systems. Because we were running it when it was absolutely mental. And we're like, what the fuck's going on? I swear we've already done heroic missions and we're getting fucked up really bad. But
I'll tell you what, though, heroic Tidal Basin is fucking difficult.
Is it?
But also really fun, yeah.
I said to you, do you want to run Tidal Basin last week? And you were like, fuck no. No, was it last week? No, last night.
I think it was but I was tired, dude.
No, I know. So after we finish, we're going to run out on horror. I'm joking. Okay. Gunrunner buff. Cassie Mendoza will now sell gear score 500 items, and she's also going to be able to sell named items and exotics. Got to agree with that because she is the equivalent of Zer from the Space Magic game that sells exotics and high-end gear.
I don't like that she's selling exotics. I have to admit. But not everybody likes RNG as much as I do, so
it happens.
I'm happy to be proven wrong on this one. Go on,
I'm just thinking it's giving people the opportunity to get weapons that unfortunately a lot of us have time to grind out. But it doesn't say which exotics. It could be like the same 3 exotics every week for all we know.
True. A bit like the exotic vendor in Division 1 that
Yes.
only sold the Cassidy and the other exotics
Yeah.
that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
Could
It
be
could
true.
be-
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Well,
think.
now they've quote unquote fixed the Merciless. She can sell that if she wants to, because nobody wants it again.
Oh, God. Did Kabuki get one in the end?
I've no idea. I've
I
not
don't
spoken
suppose he
to him for a
cares now
little
either.
yeah. While we are talking about exotics, we did miss something from the state of the game where they were talking about exotics.
Yeah.
There is no longer going to be any stat downgrades when you are updating your exotics to gear score 500. If you roll an upgraded exotic, it will roll at max level. So if you have a gear score 500 Nemesis, Mike and Rob, Boris and Foxy will all have the exact same roll of a gear score 500 Nemesis.
Do you know, I think this should be the case, though, that your gear score, it's kind of funny that the gear score doesn't, like before now, gear score hasn't really mattered. You could be like 498 and have like a high damage roll, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, what?
Yeah.
But this should be the same for everything to a certain degree. Like in my head, like the higher the roll, the better the stats should be on it. And if you're at max, it should just be all the same, especially on weapons. Do you know what I mean? If you've got two LMGs, they should be exactly the same between the two different players. If you're both running 500 gear score LMGs. I'm not talking about gear. I think the rolls should be like the highest they can on like 500 gear score pieces. So not like max roll, but you should be getting a higher roll than a 498 piece of like chest or something like that. But when it comes to like weapons, which we always thought, like the way they were talking about it when we first heard, huge things are changing in the Division 2. We're just going to have base damage. And I always thought like they're going to have base damage and it's going to level up through gear score. So the idea, once we get to like 515, you get a slight stat boost, which is kind of what we get, but we're only now confirming that, if you know what I mean.
I'm not sure I agree with you. Because then, because if on weapons, that would just be a static roll then, wouldn't it? In terms of the damage value. Yes, I know the talents will change.
But isn't that making it balanced? I mean, you've still got like weapon damage and all the rest of it that kind of factors into it. That kind of like will buff it, but the actual physical weapon, like not talking about talents or anything like that, but literally just the base damage of the weapon should just increment through the gear score. That's how I would have seen it. I know it probably does. It's not as simple as that, but yeah.
I'd be fine with incremental. Jesus Christ, incremental damage increases. Yeah, I think so. But I still am a firm believer that there needs to be a range for each gear score. I'd be happy if the ranges didn't overlap. So a 499 will always roll lower than a 500. But I don't think it should be that with standard weapons. I'm fine with it happening on exotics. I get that. They're exotics. They're supposed to be powerful. If I get a gear score 500 Nemesis, give me max roll. Fine with that. Not a problem. If I get a gear score 500 P416, for example, I don't really mind if it's got a bit of a damage window on it.
Yeah.
If you take away the grind completely, what's left?
But then we're kind of going backwards and forwards on like there's a loot issue at the minute where to some degree we're okay with it.
But doing it my way, you are helping RNG because you get, at the moment, like you said before, a 495 P416 can be higher than a 500 P416.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen with my change.
I think maybe they
still wouldn't be
to
guaranteed a max roll just because it's got 500 gear score on it.
Yeah. I think maybe they just need to shorten the window because what was it before? It was like 450 to 490.
Yeah.
Especially on crafted.
What you've just said is basically what I'm proposing.
What, just do five gear score increments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
so
like you saying, shorten the window. So, yeah, 495 to 500 could all have the same damage roll, for example. Not 450 to 500 because that's just a bit over the top.
I wonder how that would affect the loot pool, though. Would that make it better or worse? But then if everything's dropping around your gear score, it should really be...
Yeah, they've already changed that, haven't they? If your average gear score is 500, you should be seeing a lot more 500 drops.
500 pieces, yeah.
So they've already tried to shorten that window for us anyway.
But is anyone still... I don't... to be honest, I don't even look at gear score. So that's my problem. I'm looking at stats and talents when I pick stuff up.
Yeah, because that's how you've learned to play this version of the game.
Yeah.
You'd have to go back to looking at your gear score if they changed it again. Which, I mean, this is fine. You'd get used to doing it again. That's not a problem.
So it's definitely an interesting conversation because, like, yeah, I'd be interested to see how much that would affect it if it did change and go that route. But like we've said before, like I don't personally want to lose that feeling of getting that one piece in like 20 that is better. Well, I say 20, it's probably like 300. That's really good. But when I say 300, it's 300 pieces of loot rather than 300, I don't know, pistols or what, 300 of the same type of pistol. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they're changing the exotics finally. Okay, so crafting station upgrade. It's going to be upgraded to gear score 500. Finally.
Yay!
I think we said that a week or two ago. Can we please get everything crafted up to 500, please?
Yeah, that was when we were talking about the unrestricted Berserk chest that happened to be a Reddit myth because it's not unrestricted. I do have to update you on that, by the way, when we finish talking about the crafting station.
Okay. Is it the white well of the Division 2?
No, I was scrolling through Twitter a couple of days ago and I spotted a tweet from Thailander that confirms what we've been saying for a while. But carry on with what you're doing. I'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay. Apparently, the upgrade requires a 490 gear score gun and 490 gear piece and materials. So that's kind of cool. You can upgrade, but you need some stuff to actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it should be, right? Yeah,
it's a trade-off, isn't it? Yes, you can get a higher gear score if that matters to you. Pass, but you get a trade-off, which is kind of cool because you're losing the shit loot effectively to make the stuff you've got better in theory.
Now, to go along with your crafting station upgrade talk, they're changing how recalibration works as well. So crafted items can now be used in recalibrating. So talents from crafted items can be moved to and from.
So do we thank Rasmus for that one, or do we bring him in and talk about matchmaking with him?
No, Rasmus has got nothing to do with matchmaking. Stop tagging him in Twitter, everybody.
I know. I was like, what? Even he was like, I have nothing to do with that. I'm so sorry, guys.
Right. So the Gunner Stage 2 chest blueprint that rolls with Berserk on it, even though because it's a Petrov chest, you can't use it with LMGs. Thailander has confirmed on Twitter on the 19th of June that wasn't intentional and it will be fixed.
So you can use it with LMGs?
No, it won't roll with Berserk on it anymore.
Okay.
No, he doesn't specify what will be fixed. However, somebody did reply and say just make Berserk work with LMGs, and he didn't reply to that. So I'm guessing it's not that. So they're either changing it from a Petrov chest or they're changing it from Berserk.
Interesting.
They're my thoughts, because I don't think they will make Berserk unrestricted. The more I think about it, the more I think it would be a bad idea, and we kind of proved it would be a bad idea even whilst we were theory crafting whilst recording. But
yeah, it would have been OP. I'd still kind of, Thailander, can we please have that can we have it on the PTS just to play around with it? Well, technically it was on the PTS. We should have played around with it a bit more. But I do like this idea of named items and having static rolls. I really do like that kind of direction.
Now the recalibration thing's been changed. It's no longer, I mean, yes, all right, technically it's a static roll because it will always roll with Berserk, but you can now take it off.
Yeah. And put it onto something else.
So you can always have Berserk on your chest piece if you want to, because you can go and craft one at gear score 500 and take it off.
Exactly.
Put it on anything you want.
I'm wondering how many more pieces of gear that we're going to get like this actually happen.
Yeah.
And to the point where we're like, cool, I need this talent or this. Yeah, it's going to be this talent for this weapon or piece of gear and just switch it over without having to loot it.
I'd put forward that you're going to get at least 2 more because there's 2 more specializations coming, isn't there?
Yeah.
So let's use this one as the prime example. You've got 1 named gear piece. Why would you not get 1 for the other 2? And who says you only get 1? You might get 2 for the next 2 because they've run out of ideas.
Plus, you don't know what secret stuff they're constantly. I mean, you've got the updates in between as well, between the major updates. Like, I'm sure we'll hear about title update 5.1 or something in the near future. But let's get this one done first. Next up, flashlight. There will be a flashlight attachment for pistols. It can be found somewhere. Luke.
Hello.
How often do you use your pistol?
Not that often.
Okay.
I'd use it a lot more with a flashlight on it, though.
You reckon?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd shoot it, but I'd use it a lot more.
Hey guys, I can see where I'm going.
I mean, my pistol on pretty much all of my builds, not every build, but most of my builds is the exotic D50, the Liberty or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
So it hits like a train, but it's only got 8 bullets in the magazine. So it's literally my, oh shit, my other 2 weapons are out of ammo. I've got a D50 in my pocket. I'll shoot this guy in the head for 150k. If it's got a flashlight on it,
even better.
Yeah, it's probably going to be my go-to weapon for the first shot, and then switch to my LMG.
Look, as long as you can see where you're shooting, doesn't
exactly
matter.
Right.
Yeah, I just was like, is that the only weapon we're getting that on? But then, obviously, you're going to want different mods and all the rest of it on the other weapons. So
yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so there's 2 new weapons being added with the next title update. There's the Carbine 7 Assault Rifle, the Stoner LMG, and then there's, I mean, they say, those are the 2 weapons. Am I right in thinking one of them is the lever action rifle? Or was it 2 rifles and an exotic?
No, I wasn't really paying attention during this bit, but any which way you look at it, I think it's 3 new weapons.
Yeah. Okay, that's not right at all then.
Because there's the Carbine 7 AR that you've just said. There's the Stoner LMG that you've just said. Both will have brand new talents that you've just said. And then
which haven't been confirmed at all.
Correct. And then there's a Diamondback lever action rifle, which is similar but not the same to the 1886 that we've already got in the game, but it's got a fucking snake wrapped around it.
Okay, so I need to know, is that snake going to be moving, or is it alive, dead? Please, can you confirm either of those statements?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
One statement I can confirm is that Rob's going to fucking love that gun.
Oh, fucking yeah, he is. His cowboy build's going to come back.
Yeah. I did see, what was it? I did see a load of comments which made me laugh, which was like, great. Can't fucking fix the game, but I'm going to throw in some new weapons and a Diamondback lever action rifle with a fucking snake on it. Good job. It's like, come on, that's kind of cool though. To be honest, it's not as cool as the new exotic gloves, the BTSU gloves, dude.
BTSU gloves.
BTSU. It's gonna basically be for those people that want to run skill builds, offensive, crowd control combos, so you can switch between the skills and you're gonna unlock very good buffs.
Now, for everybody thinking that skill build gloves are going to be dead before they even get in the game, there was a lot of talk this week about how skills are going to get overhauled on the state of the game as well, weren't there, for TU5?
Well, just a little bit.
Yeah. Before everybody just goes, fucking exotic gloves are all about skill builds.
Well, it kind of killed our conversation because I kind of wanted to have a discussion about like where skill builds were and all the rest of it at the minute. Not great.
No. We were going to talk about this last week, weren't we? And then we overran. So then we thought, oh yeah, we'll move it to next week. And then we all forgot that Rob wasn't here. But then State of the Game killed it for us.
Yeah. So Hamish was joined by Bruce Kelly this week to discuss skill changes coming in the very near future. Going to be honest, it's very nice that we're finally hearing skills being discussed by the devs on the stream. I'm mad. Holy shit. I'm getting Division 1 scares. I'm going to be honest, from some of the changes that are happening. I'm glad, but I'm also glad we're not just getting this dropped in an update without it being tested on a PTS.
Yes.
Are you in agreement with that? Because some of the stuff that I was seeing on the videos that they showed on the state of the game was like, do you really want to drop that?
I am agreeing with you in principle. However, I would go back to Bruce's comment where he was very careful before they started talking about Division 2 photos and the what's the other competition they run for stuff on a month? Agent highlights.
Yes. That's
Before
the
they
one.
started talking about that stuff, Bruce was very careful to make it clear that the videos that they presented from the dev builds on the state of the game were against normal difficulty NPCs.
I must have missed that.
So-
2 screaming kids in the background. Apologies.
Yeah. I was all set to come here recording this episode saying, they all look fucking OP, everything's going to be one shot, they're fucking killing the game, rah, 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 rah. And then he put me out of my misery straight away and said, these are only against normal NPCs. We don't expect you to be melting stuff in challenging and specifically heroic difficulty with one-shot seeker mines or turrets that can kill a Chungus in 9 seconds or whatever ridiculous speed it was. So, yes, I'm really glad they're putting it on a PTS. Yes, I'm glad the PTS is up as soon as possible. Yes, I'm glad it's a focused PTS. I am still a little bit worried because some of the buffs are quite significant, as we'll get into in the very next bit of the conversation. But I think it was necessary because skills were shit, weren't they? Let's be honest.
As someone that runs, like, I think half the reason I die a lot is because I'm not running a drone. Fucking drone. Well, I'm not running a drone. I don't run a hive. I've got to the habit now of switching to a hive on certain sections of the raid because you just have to. It's easier, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It's one of those sections, the dogs.
Yeah. you just have to.
Yeah,
especially
you
when,
do. Yeah.
when you've got that shit going down. But aside from that, I love running my pulse. I've started using Jammer Pulse. I really like the EMP, and then Chem Launcher. But I kind of want to use something else other than healing skill. But I'm now at 10 seconds for the cooldown on my pulse, which is something they actually discussed today. Is that they've done an overhaul of the skills, in particularly how the skill mods work, how they get buffed, and how to make them more effective. I think the most interesting thing was the fact that they looked at the current DPS meta that is going on in the division, how much damage you're able to do with the weapons, and the maximum is like 3 million DPS with an assault rifle build. That's not skills. There's nothing anywhere close to that being backed up by skills at all, is there?
No.
There's nothing at all. And the one thing I really like is that, because I've always thought the skills were supposed to be secondary to gunplay, or at least you run out of bullets, you pop that. It's either like a life save situation, depending on your role, especially if you're like a DPS player.
Yeah.
That's been my kind of verdict. But then I understand everybody, you want everything as a player. You want everything. You want to be able to heal, you want to be able to run damage skill, and you want to use your primary weapon. So I can understand that. But sometimes you end up in these hybrid builds where you're doing DPS and you've got skills and you're tanky. And yeah, it's a bit messy. But I like the fact that they basically said that they don't want to nerf the weapons, but they want to buff the skills to bring them in line with the weapons. So it's a choice at the end of the day. But looking at everything that they talked about today on the state of the game, it seems like they're going to kind of push it to, if you're a high-end skill power player, you're going to be dealing maximum damage, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not, then you're going to kind of be in the same situation you're in now. But the other thing as well, by the sounds of it, is your cooldown, which is being changed so they changed the cooldown reduction to skill haste. I've always thought it was skill haste. It's just a really odd way of saying it. It's a lot easier. It was pretty sure it was skill haste in Division 1 as well.
It was, yeah.
So yeah, obviously one of the things that they've looked at is how effective the current cooldown system is, and yeah, it's pretty damn easy to get 90% cooldown reduction. So you can get approximately like 10 seconds. I've got 10 seconds. I've got a lot of skill power. Then I've got cooldown reduction. Then I've got gear pieces with cooldown, and then I'm running cooldown mods on my pulse. So I've managed to get it that way. but I'm wondering how. I'm really interested to see how the skill mods being changed is going to affect my cooldown, and obviously the change from skill haste, which is then being buffed up, as you can go beyond 100% now for the actual skill haste.
Yeah, and the buff that you mentioned to skill haste was, so what they're doing when Title Update 5 goes live, anything that you've rolled cooldown reduction onto will instantly change to skill haste, and then anything that was rolled that's now renamed as skill haste will get a 33% buff to its previous value.
Which is quite a lot, but it depends
is,
what the cap is, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they didn't mention a cap. I mean, I guess there would be a cap in place somewhere, but Bruce did mention that skill haste mods can roll up to and including 200% skill haste. So that cap's going to be quite fucking high.
Yeah, well, that's if you've got 3k skill power. Now, I'm guessing not many people have 3k skill power at the minute, but it really depends on your build, doesn't it?
At the minute, yeah, but as you rightly said when you were doing the introduction to all these skill bits and pieces, was they're buffing skill-focused builds. So it's now going to be worth your while having a 3k skill power build because of all these changes, 33% extra here, 200% extra there, 150% extra somewhere else. They're throwing big numbers at you if you take the time to spec into that build.
Well, a prime example, they've even said, like, skill mods, how much of an impact it's going to have on skills. Currently, you throw out a turret, it doesn't do that much damage. However, if you've got 3k skill power, a turret mod buff is going to increase the damage to 150%. 150% on what we already have. That is fucking insane, but it kind of scares me. But as you rightly said earlier, what we were shown on the state of the game was against just normal NPCs, right?
Correct.
So we haven't seen named, we haven't seen...
No. You have, normal level NPCs. So there were normal level reds, there was normal level named.
But normal levels, but it's not like veteran difficulty. Or elite sort of thing.
No. Normal difficulty.
Oh, right, okay.
And they showed killing red bars and named enemies within that difficulty of normal. There's then obviously when you put a mission onto challenging mode, still reds and named in there, but they're all healthier, tankier.
Healthier.
I know what I mean.
They've been eating their spinach.
They're all tankier and they can all deal more damage, but they're still red bars, aren't you? You see what I'm getting at? Yeah, right.
Yeah. You just see how quickly that Seeker Mine took the damage. Was it Seeker Mine? It was a Seeker Mine. Took the damage off and left it with like a slither of health. I'm like,
yeah. But that again, that was a normal
Yes.
difficulty leveled named NPC.
Yes. Which
you could probably kill at the moment with, what, 10 AR bullets?
Yeah, it'd be quicker to do it. Well, this is it. It'd be quicker to use a weapon than to actually use your skill. And I think that was the point they were trying to prove. The main thing that they kind of buffed, was it explosive damage? It was explosive damage skills, wasn't it?
Explosive damage skills were the ones that they showed off quite a lot, yeah, because they did the Seeker Mines first, and then they did the Bombardier drone, which basically one-shot a named NPC. But
it should do.
Yeah, but...
to a certain degree, depending on the level, like, you know.
No, what I was going to say was yes and no, because that Bombardier drone drops 2 bombs. It killed the NPC with the first bomb. Why give it a second bomb?
Gotta be honest, I don't use it. I didn't realize it had two
don't
bombs.
Use it either, but I watched the videos quite closely. That was the bit I really focused in on State of the Game, because I was like, you're doing what?
Yeah, but I expect you can get a mod to get more bombs.
Yeah, probably. Don't use it, don't care. But
I think the one that I'm really fucking happy about, shield skills. Shield skills getting a big buff to be more usable. Are you for or against this? Because I want tank builds, I want DPS builds, I want healer builds for this game. You know, as well as skill builds. I want like the 4 things that you would get in an RPG to have that team build out. And we've been saying it for fucking ages, and I hope this is a step closer to that.
I do agree with you. I'm trying not to be very biased because I hate shield builds. That's just my playstyle, didn't really use a D3 set in Division 1. Don't use the shield operators in Siege. Don't use a shield in Division 2. However, I know my playstyle is not for everybody. People will want to have a shield. Fine, go and have a shield. Me being selfish, I instantly start thinking about how a shield and a really, really tanky shield will affect PvP. Bearing in mind, I still don't play PvP in Division 2, but that's just how my head works.
You haven't played PvP in the Division 2 for a month this week. Because this week is the anniversary of the raid.
There you go then.
Or we didn't last week. I can't remember.
Before the raid, we didn't exactly play it a lot, did we? Let's be very honest about this.
No, because we were still doing other content.
We were doing all the really good PvE content, and the PvP content is not very good.
But also, there's no incentive at the minute to play the Dark Zone.
I didn't really play the Dark Zone for incentive in Division 1. I played it because it was fucking good fun for quite a while.
I can't disagree with that.
Got quite bad towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry, that's just how my head works. Have fun with your shield build, dude.
All I'm going to say is, but I completely agree, because like having 4 shield dudes running it, look, we've tried it.
Yeah, we did.
We're going to rock into the Dark Zone with 4 shield builds. Like the fucking Romans. No, it doesn't work. It was fun though, whilst it lasted. I think just having more viable builds than I'm doing DPS.
Yeah. I can't argue with that. More build diversity and viability of all the builds is only a good thing.
Because I'm thinking next raid, maybe you need a shield build. We needed, like, you look at Stolen Signal. You needed shield builds before the end.
Well, they that Yannick interview with, I can't remember what magazine it was. I want to say Kotaku, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, it was. He did one with Kotaku and did a video interview with GameSpot, I think.
Well, whichever one it was that we read out a snippet of the interview with, I went back and read the whole article. And when they were talking about raids, Yannick said that they're very conscious of the skill gap between PC and console players and how difficult the current raid is on console. So what they want to do for the second raid is concentrate more on team play. Now, to me, that means a lot more build diversity.
Yes.
And everybody having a role. So yeah, you're going to need a shield build, you're going to need a heal build, blah, blah, blah.
What is the build diversity in the current raid? Tell me what the current build diversity is in the current raid.
Depends which encounter you're doing, but not a lot. Because I say it depends which encounter you're doing, because obviously Razorback, you need a couple of people that have got the crossbow. You used to need a couple of people that got the merciless.
Diversity.
And then I think it used to run best for us when Foxy was using his fairly decent pulse build that was based around the jammer pulse for killing the pesky drones that come out of Razorback.
Yeah. You've got a couple, but it's not like
it's not a lot. No, absolutely not.
With 8 people in a, I know I keep using the raid, but it's you've got 8 people. You should have not literally 8 different builds, but you should have more than like 2 or 3 builds in there.
Yeah. Well, break it down. You need one on the front and one on the back using a crossbow. You need one in the corner of 4 and one in the corner of 2 with the merciless. That's 4 builds. And then the other 4 can run whatever the fuck they want as long as one of them's got a jammer pulse. That's it. That's your build diversity for Razorback.
Yeah.
Or previous raid build diversity for Razorback, because merciless builds are dead now. So really you only need 2 crossbows and then just throw what you want as long as you do a lot of DPS.
Yeah, so we need that make Merciless great again campaign. Please send all funds over to... I'm really happy with the changes that are coming. I'm scared of them. But what, like Bruce said, they looked at the numbers and they've worked their asses off to try and bring them in line with weapons. I'm slightly worried that because my worry with, and like I do the same as you, I go straight to PvP. I look at skills as PvP, and I need to stop doing that. Maybe that's like a downfall on my perspective. But I'm just worried that that's all people are going to be running now, as a meta in PvP, in conflict, or in the dark zone. We've had that. And that's why that side of it concerns me. That's why I always thought skills should be secondary, depending, obviously, how your build is set up. Because it then becomes that thing of you press a button and you kill the other player.
This is the PTS that I will be testing the most of all the PTSs that we've had thus far for this game.
Cool.
And Boris, get your notepad ready, dude, because I'm going to be trying to one-shot you with fucking everything.
Yeah, well, I've got my pulse. I've got my skill build going across, hopefully next week, because they would have tucked that by now, I reckon.
Yeah.
They would have took the data for that, so I'm looking forward to that.
What you need to do is take a screenshot of your build next time you play the game.
Yeah.
And then compare it with the values that you get without touching a single piece of your build when they import it into TU5 PTS.
Yes, that's
just
a good
to
shout.
see where the buffs are from the get-go.
And I'm only sitting at 2k, and I could be higher than that, but I'm not, because there's no point.
At the moment, there's not, yeah.
No, but it could get interesting next week.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely be interesting. Couple of things to talk about before we do leave skills that I kind of had lined up for the discussion, but we'll just talk about them very quickly here. I'd be interested to know, do you think there's a modifier between PvP and PvE content for skills?
I'd be amazed if there isn't.
I hope so. I'm hoping they can adjust the skill drop off in PvP better. Well, not better, but
that just has to be a lesson they've learned from the first game. And if they haven't, somebody needs a slap. I'm sorry, I know that sounds harsh, but that was such an easy thing to learn from the first game when the one-shot seeker mess was around for ages.
Yeah, the thing is, it took so long to fix it. The only thing
they didn't fix it. That's the problem. They nerfed it into the ground, so people that wanted to use it in PvE no longer could, really. So, yeah, if they haven't made a skill modifier between PvP and PvE, I'll be amazed. I'll eat my hat or something. Whatever people say when they're shocked.
Yeah, it's just I kind of hope to some degree skills do go back towards the Division 1. Obviously, in the Division 1, skill power improved your skills, and the more skill power you had, the stronger you were. I kind of feel like that's the direction you're going, but they're also giving you more powerful mods to go, by the sounds of it, to go alongside that. So I like the fact they're still using the mod system and they're not solely relying on the skill power.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to what we said about the raid. The fact that nearly everyone uses the revive and a chem launcher just shows you that people aren't really interested in using anything else, or nothing else is viable to other people.
Nothing else is viable. And at the moment, we've already said most builds are DPS focused. You do more DPS if you're alive, so use skills that keep you alive. It's easy.
My issue with that, I don't know if it's just me, is that just nobody wants to play any other role than DPS?
But no other role is really viable at the moment, is it?
No, I'm thinking of like the Division 1. Even though you had skill builds, the skill builds half the time were dealing DPS, when we go through those metas and the rest of it.
Yeah, but people like to be powerful, don't they? That's the thing with this game, with Destiny games, with any game. If you can shoot somebody, you want to shoot them the most efficient way possible, i.e. more DPS. So, yeah, but I would go back to Division 1 and say that some people were happy to be healers. So you'd got the 6-piece Reclaimer build, the classy version. That was all around healing and getting a massive healing station circle and what have you, wasn't it? So I think some healing builds will come back.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it. If you could have one of your... So the split at the moment for Lucy and Buddy is 5 on Buddy, 3 on Lucy. If you could have one of the 3 on Lucy as a healer to keep you alive when those pesky fucking proximity mines go off, you could do a lot more damage to Lucy a lot easier without having to keep putting yourself out from being on fire and whatever else. So
I'm thinking the other thing with this as well, I just kind of thought of it. If you have the ability to have these, the diversified builds, the Jonas Brothers on the Black Tusk area of
Yep.
the raid, right? You have to draw aggro. Boomer, you have to draw aggro. You have a shield build. You know, you're taking damage. You've got other people. You can have healers, have one healer healing your team and have everyone else doing DPS or doing whatever. I'm just thinking, like, you do that, you can up the difficulty. I know the raid's already difficult as it is, but I'm thinking, like, you add a healer in, you can add more survivability. Things aren't going to be great in PvP, but as Rob said, at the minute, the game is PvE with PvP tacked on at the minute. As it stands, that's how I think a lot of people feel about it until that changes. So obviously adding those roles in are going to make that bit of content easier to some degree. But then giving us builds, healing builds, shield tanks, tankier, not so much tankier builds, but the ability to use skills to have a tankier role, to give people different roles in the game. I just think you can up the difficulty to a certain degree and it can still be enjoyable whilst everyone still has a role to play and you've got a lot more teamwork. And then you're not relying solely on DPS.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. I guess last couple of things. Any worries about skill changes being made apart from what we've already said?
In what context?
Just any downsides that you can see that we haven't already thought of?
No, not really.
I think,
like you said, when you said you were scared, I'm still a little bit scared that they're going to make some of the PvE activities too easy. But pretty much most of the PvE at the moment has gotten easy because everybody's now worked out strategies for each mission and the raid, and everybody's builds are just getting better and better and better because the more you farm, the more likely you are to get that perfect piece. Like just yesterday, I got a backpack upgrade, so my raid build got slightly better.
yeah,
It's got slightly more weapon damage on it. So
I think my only worry is getting the skill meta back, and that being the soul meta. But
yeah,
we'll see. And finally, how do you want to see personally skill builds go in the future?
I would like them to be viable. I'm not going to lie because again, I'm not a massive skill build player. I will build one if they're better and worthwhile. I just don't want them to be too powerful. Like it's, you know how they got in Division 1 before they got nerfed, where you could run the legendary missions solo, and literally just sit in the corner and let your Seeker Mines kill everything and your Sticky Bomb kill everything. I don't want that to return, but they definitely need to be able to deal some damage. You know,
Yeah.
Our mate Dave's been trying to build a skill build since the game came out, and he can't because all the skills just don't do damage.
And yeah, they don't deal enough damage, do they? Well, hopefully PTS sorts this out. Title update 5 rectify skills for the future. Right, we're going to move on to some known issues that is happening in the game at the minute. Very quickly. Okay, so the special ammo pickup issue still got problems with it. It was supposed to be fixed, I believe, last week, and it wasn't fixed. As well as the 150 special ammo bug. Apparently, it's been long loading times and error codes when logging in. I did see that a lot. There seemed to be more on console, I believe, but apparently there are a few people on PC that are having this issue. After the patch dropped last week. So it basically tells you the patch is installed. Please restart your game. And then it ends up asking you to do the same thing again, ending with an Oscar 03 error. Foxtrot errors as well, which seem to be affecting servers on the west coast of the US. They're working on that. Players locked in place 1 dying while locked down. Basically, you can't move when you died while locked down with Riot Foam. They're working on it. And some people are reporting increased difficulty in certain areas. That is being investigated. I wonder if that's to do with the raid. Could be. There was emergency maintenance, I believe. Was it Monday or Tuesday this week?
Tuesday, yesterday.
Tuesday. Do we know what that was about?
I've not found what that was for yet, no. I'll be honest, I've not looked an awful lot, but yeah, where I did look, I couldn't find it.
I was kind of hoping it was going to be for the Buddy and Lucy fix.
Yeah, me
for the
too.
People that were struggling with that, but I haven't seen anything.
I don't think it was, and I'm quite annoyed that that's not been mentioned on State of the Game this week to say, just in case people had not seen it where I'd seen it on the forums, just go, hey guys, sorry, we screwed up Buddy and Lucy a little bit. We didn't mean to. We're trying to fix it. Bear with us. That takes 10 seconds.
Yeah. Also, they've been normally pretty good with the maintenance updates on the forums because they post all the time. If there's going to be maintenance or anything that's being addressed is normally posted over there. And the last update was like the 20th, and that was the last Thursday. So yeah, I'm quite surprised there was no update over there. And finally, special ammo is still being dropped from killing animals, so that will make Rob chuckle. Apparently it's still a bug and it will be fixed in the near future.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a maintenance tomorrow. Today, if you're listening to this on Thursday, the 23rd, 27th of June, apparently something that is actually going to be fixed during this maintenance. You can recalibrate the Dodge City holster talent onto another item. You shouldn't be doing that because it's an exotic item. If you have, then the item that got the talent will be reset to its original state, and the deconstructed holster will not be given back to you. So, rip. Very quickly, with regards to the PTS, obviously, Episode 1 DC Expeditions will be live on the title update PTS next week. Just to make you aware, yes, you can test the new content. However, it will be open in stages over next week. So I think they don't want to load a load of people into one piece of content all at once, like the raid or resistance. They've done this before. They wanted to obviously test different areas of the content. So you can try that out next week, just as a heads up. And Luke, have you picked up your Twitch apparel bundle?
I did it just this evening, yes.
Did you?
So I need to log into the game to see if it's worked, because I don't watch a lot of Twitch. I had to watch Twitch to watch State of the Game back, and I remembered to go and get my Twitch Prime loot.
Nice. If you have a Twitch Prime account, basically you link it to your Ubisoft account and you can claim, I can't remember the name. It's the Washington, I can't see the writing.
I'm not sure, but they mentioned it on the State of the Game as well. Basically, there's going to be 4 apparel loot drops.
Okay.
Each one with a different sporting theme.
Nice.
This first theme was baseball.
Oh. That explains the mask.
When I said to you yesterday it looks like a hockey mask, it's not a hockey mask, it's a basketball mask.
A basketball mask.
Please let basketball be one of the sports.
I was going to say, I would have a basketball as one of the sports. Do we think we'll get a hockey mask? It's got to kind of be done.
Yeah, but does it though?
Well, the asset's already in the Division 1, right?
Well, yeah, they could easily borrow it, I suppose, but it'd just be nice to see different sports.
I kind of wonder if we'll get hockey pads, because if we do, I'm going to be running around going, I'm wearing hockey pads. Anyway, sorry. And finally, big topic in the community, loot in the Division. They want to talk about it. There will be a discussion at some point in the future. They understand that people aren't happy with the current loot progression and it needs changing. So they're going to try and sort it out, but it wasn't on today's agenda.
Cool.
Okay. We are running over time today, so I'll leave the brief discussion that we had until next week. However, on to questions and feedback. First one is from Not Me Mister, and we basically threw out a message in our Discord. You can give us any feedback over there if you want. And this was to do with thoughts on skills. He said, from what they showed, the revamped skills have the potential to build a viable PvE skill build, but given where PvP is, they are going to be OP there, or they're going to have to do damage modifiers to turn down the damage. Wow, it's like we kind of preempted it. I wasn't watching chat, but I'm guessing a few concerned comments were made about PvP not being mentioned at all. Quite rightly so, in my opinion. Were there? I don't remember.
Yes, there were.
What about skills?
There was a lot of people saying, oh my God, these skills look too powerful. And then there was a lot of people moaning that it's going to ruin PvP or make PvP even worse. But these were all comments made before Bruce did his surmising. These skills look powerful because we're using the weakest enemies in the game, rah, rah, rah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then chat was like, it's the Division 1 again.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, as we said during our chat before, the fear is still there, but that's what the PTS is for, right? I know for a fact if I play this PTS next week and the skills are OP, every motherfucker's going to know about it because I will be on here ranting my ass off.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of days' time, I guess, by the time this goes out.
Yeah.
Cap says, can we get targeted loot, please? It's not really to do with skills, but they did technically mention loot on the state of the game. So, do you want targeted loot? Well, we can talk about that in a minute if you want it, because Boris gave us a little bit of feedback with regards to last week's discussion on the changing of the brand sets and having like a backpack role for a roldie, whereas now it doesn't, or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to take the next one, Luke?
Jim friggin' Leahy says, I know you guys aren't really into skill builds, but if you were to pick one skill to try and make one with, which would you choose? Is there any that pique your interest but haven't given it a go yet because where skills are currently?
Firefly.
I knew you were going to say that.
No. Being honest, I want shield builds to a certain degree. I kind of want shields to be a thing. As long as you... It kind of goes down that mentality again of me wanting shield builds, but I only want one member of the team to be able to run certain skills. So do you know what I mean? Like, you can't replicate other skills in your team build-up. Composition, should I say.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get hate for that, so it's fine.
I mean, after watching it on State of the Game, the one I would probably try, but almost certainly take straight back off again, just because I don't like skill builds very much, is the Bombardier drone. It looks fun to blow shit up, right?
You just want to drop bombs. That's all you want to do. Fair play. Cap says, I'm desperate to loot a decent AR and min-max my one and only build. Sorry, not sorry, I'm casual. Get over it. But the variety in drops is way too important.
Now that comment should have been tagged onto his first one if you look at the timestamps.
Yes.
So that's Discord's fault. Sorry, Cap.
Oh, it's literally like 30 seconds apart.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's why he wants targeted loot then, is it? So he knows where to go and get ARs from.
Yes. Basically, continuing on for last week's discussion, like we said, Rolly only has pack, gloves, and holster, so you won't get knees, you won't get mask. Boris said, so my feedback and addition to the conversation of last week is that I don't want it to change, but I do agree with Rod that it needs to be reined in a little. Who would have thought Rob was right? A lot of trash gear to sort through before we even get a half-decent piece with an even smaller chance it will be an upgrade. I don't want a rollie to have a mask, for example. I know that for any good sniper builds outside of aces and eights, I need 3-piece a rollie. So I need to grind for that 3-piece, but with the amount of trash, it can get discouraging with the amount of grind that is needed to sort through the amount of trash. They don't even need to change it that much. Just provide specific locations as to where to get it. For example, hyenas could have a higher drop rate of a rollie brand stuff as they use sporting gear in their gear makeup, for example. So as the player, we know where to go for. We know to go chase hyenas for that kind of gear. Something like that, targeted farming, something I've mentioned a lot before for the Division 1. Obviously, Cap said, can we please get targeted loot? Because he's desperate to loot better gear for his one build, and the variety drops are way too important. How do you feel about this, Luke?
Well, I just want to quickly tag on that Not Me Mister agrees as well that targeted farming seems a very sensible idea to him. Now, I'm fine with that as an idea. Absolutely fine. I think it makes quite a lot of sense, actually. I would like to remind people that targeted farming was a thing in Division 1 and nobody liked it.
Back in my day.
Yeah. Back when I was a lad.
Back in 1.3,
yeah,
I believe.
1.3, there was a table to tell you which pieces you could get from which incursion. And people lost their shit. So, for everybody that's complaining that you need targeted farming, there's going to be people complaining that you don't need targeted farming because I don't want to have to run the same mission over and over again to get better knee pads.
See, I kind of replied to this in our Discord and I said, basically what you just said then. Hey, well, they had this in the Division 1 and everyone complained about it, which is now like we're kind of reenacting the Division 1 because it's not literally like for like, but the exotics are now going to be dropping from heroic bosses rather than being locational or through projects, whatever. But I thought instead of running missions repeatedly for this, like for gear, what if we do it per faction? So you have like a faction will drop certain brands, another faction will drop other different like other brands. And then that way you're not running the same content repeatedly with the hope of getting like just one piece.
That's probably a slightly better way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, it was probably worse in Division 1 because they tied certain loot drops to certain incursions, didn't they? So
yeah,
there was
but
literally only ever 3 of them before Stolen Signal came out. And I can't remember which piece was which, but like if you wanted a mask, for argument's sake, I think they did 2 per incursion. So a mask or a holster, you had to go and run Dragon's Nest. And then it was a mask or a holster from any of the gear sets. So, you know, you could still have to run Dragon's Nest 18 times till you got a fucking Firecrest mask that was an upgrade to the Firecrest mask that you'd already got. So, yeah, targeted farming in Division 2 could be done a lot better than it was done in Division 1. And yes, making it factions rather than missions is a better way of doing it. I still think you'd get people complain, but if you don't do it, you're going to have people that are still complaining that the RNG is too bad. So, you know, this game is so complicated and so big that the devs must constantly want to shoot themselves in the face because no matter what they do, people won't like it.
But they know that. I mean, you read that thing. You know what Yannick said.
Why can't, when they make a good change, why can't we praise them for it? You know, like
you're a shill.
We sit here week after week and say, you know, we fucking love the raid, it's great, and the PvE game in this, the PvE side of this game is excellent. It's way better than the first one. All right, yes, I normally slag off PvP. I'll take my medicine for that. But why do we always have to focus on the negative? As a community, why is it always, oh, this bit's broken, this bit's shit, this bit's bad, this bit could be better, I want this to happen, I want this to happen, I want this to happen?
Because it's far easier to complain about something than to give positive feedback about it. It's kind of like that.
I like to think we're fairly balanced in criticism and praise. So it's not that fucking hard, is it?
I don't know. I felt like we were a little bit not negative, but we were definitely taking shots last week when we just put laughs. I went back and listened to last week's podcast. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I
You're not allowed to enjoy your own content, dude.
Dude, yeah. But this way, I burst out laughing on some of the stuff Rob said last week.
SITREP's biggest fan is one of its own hosts.
Dude, when I listened to, 60 episodes back to back for our year 1 review, I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to listen to this again. But there we go. Yeah, but we've got targeted loot drops in the fucking game now. Where is it, Luke? Where's the targeted loot drops in the game now?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Starts with an R.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so the gear sets that you can only get from the raid, right?
Exactly. And what are people calling for?
the stuff that's locked behind the content of the raid to be added to the loot pool.
Yeah. So therefore increasing the problem of the loot pool that we've got.
Yeah, but that's a bit different, isn't it? Because people want the shiny that they can't get because they haven't got 8 friends.
This is what happened with incursions.
Well,
nobody wanted to run the fucking incursions. They just wanted it added to the general loot pool. Jesus Christ. Are we seriously going round in circles? I'm going to wrap my headphone cord around my neck in a minute. Sorry.
I'd be fine with the stuff that's tied behind the raid being dropped into the loot pool only once the second raid arrives.
I don't know what to say about it. Because it's nice having that. Like, you think new people coming in. I don't know. I want that. I want everybody to have that gear, but I also feel like that gear is like raid specific, because if you look at the talents and all the rest of it, it feels like it's built for the raid. Like the crossbow, you've got aces and eights. It's built for team play. Like, and it's not just like 4 people. It's built for 8 players, and it's a case of like you run. The downside is there's not enough encounters to get almost a full set of one piece of gear, like one gear set, before you complete it. So you're not making it any easier. There's no bonus. Do you know what I mean? You can't run a 2-piece, get a bonus that's going to make your builds better to get through the raid. It's not helping you in any way until you have that full set. And the majority of the time, you've got to basically complete the raid. Like, I'm kind of thinking Destiny, you would play it enough times until you got loot. And then by the time you've got a full set or enough pieces, you'd have some kind of buff. So I don't know, you'd have like X amount of damage against NPCs or something like that that would just help you in certain encounters. It's difficult. It is really fucking difficult because I want it to stay the way it is, but maybe I'm just being selfish. Because the minute you take it out of there, especially with the AR, and that's the one thing that everyone's going for, I'm seeing people buy it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but like I said, people will do anything for the shiny if they know they can't get it from the way that you're supposed to get it. And let's not beat around the bush. They always said that once they said that raids were coming to this game, that there would be specific rewards. I'm trying to remember exactly how they worded it, but basically there would be specific rewards for hardcore players that can complete the hardest activities in the game, i.e. the raid. Now, I get that it's a month old almost, and I get that not everybody can play it, and I get that even more people that can play it can't complete it. However, tough shit. You know? It's their game. They've made it the way that they wanted to make it. They've done something for hardcore players who can complete the hardest content. I've kind of already said I'd be fine with them giving it to the loot pool once the second raid's out. And I'll put a caveat on that, as long as the second raid comes out with even more specific loot that's tied behind it for people that want to complete the second raid. Otherwise, what's the point? So then when the loot from the first raid is no longer new and shiny, let's put it in the loot pool so that people can get it who perhaps can't do the raid, so they get a chance to enjoy it. I guarantee you pretty much everybody who then moves on to the second raid will already have had it all from the first raid anyway, so I don't see any harm in doing it that way.
I just think if you're dedicated enough to jump in and do the raid, then you deserve the loot.
Yeah.
I think getting it out, I think that's, I'll be honest, the change that they made with the exotics, with the heroics, is a really good fucking thing, because if you've accidentally deleted it, or you've used it for parts, and you can get it to drop again, obviously it's only a small percentage chance, but you've earned it the proper way to start with. And I think that's the best way of doing it. Something akin to that.
But that's the thing with putting the Eagle Bear in the loot pool. It could take people weeks to get it. Look at our mate Kabuki Q trying to get the Merciless from the same mission over and over and over again. Ran it nearly 200 times and it's dropped. I can't remember what it got, but like it was a 10% drop rate that he'd worked it out, but only to other people. It was never him that it dropped for.
But at least with something like the raid, you try and get the AR and you've got like a 1 in 8 chance, because in theory, you know, you run that thing enough times, you will. I'd like to think your friends would hand one out to you, you know, or somebody else that you were playing with. But
I thought something else then, and I forgot already. Oh yeah, no. The flip side of that is like, so all right, let's do it the way that other people want to do it, and there's no specific reward for running the raid. How pissed off would you be if 2 weeks after the raid came out, like us, was our first completion? So, or no, a week and a bit, because we didn't do it during the first week because we didn't get that patch, but we did it a couple of days after reset. How pissed off would you be after 9 days of grinding the same piece of really difficult content that your reward was the exotic D50 or a merciless or anything else that you could get in the game that's not specific to that activity? I'd be fucking raging.
Yeah.
And I'd literally probably finish it only once just so I could say that I've finished it because I'm a completionist.
I think, is that what happened with incursions in the Division 1? Like, we were getting like additional incursions, but they'd already changed, or at least the third one anyway.
There was an additional incursions, but they gave you a higher drop rate of getting stuff that you would want. So if you'd not finished your new gear set yet, because what was the one that was tied to Dragon's Nest? I want to say that was Deadeye, but I might be wrong. But I mean, whatever gear set from Division 1 it was that was tied to the new incursion when it came out. So first it was, oh my God, I forgot what the name of that fucking incursion was. Where
Falcon Lost.
Falcon Lost, thank you. There was gear sets tied to that, weren't there, when they brought gear sets out? Then there was gear sets tied to Dragon's Nest. And then there was gear sets tied to the other one.
Stolen Signal?
No, not Stolen Signal. The
Clear Sky.
Clear Sky, thank you very much. Jesus Christ. 12 months that game's been gone and I forgot everything about it already.
I wanted it gone out my system.
But yeah, they were tied to it as a better drop rate, but not exclusive. So there was kind of a specific reward for doing them.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like, you look at Resistance, you were going to Resistance for exotics at one point to try and get the house, but you're getting everything but the house drop because the loot pool's so big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the problem when you start doing that. I think for heroic missions, yeah, it's fine. Heroic missions or challenge, like, you should have a percentage of whatever's in the general exotic pool to drop. I think if you've got raid weapons, keep them in the raid. I don't know. I think I'm going to go backwards and forwards on this. I think you want to be nice and give it to everyone, but
yeah,
like you said, how pissed would you be if you like? I haven't got the AI yet. I haven't got it yet either. I don't think I've got a full set of all the gear sets yet. I don't think I've got all 6 pieces. I still think I'm waiting on holster at least for tip of the spear. But like, if they were just like dropping it everywhere, how pissed would you be if you spent that long grinding it out and then they're like, oh fuck it, it's out in the main loot system now?
Yeah, that's that loot balance that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago as well, isn't it? You know, I understand why people who can't play the raid or can't complete the raid are upset that they won't get the Eagle Bearer. But then those people need to realize that we'd be pissed off if we completed the raid and we didn't get the Eagle Bearer and somebody who'd literally done a story mission got the Eagle Bearer.
Yeah.
I think where's the reward for doing difficult content other than bragging rights?
Yeah. The only way I can see combating it is not now, maybe 6 months down the road. Hey, we're going to do an event. This weekend, you've got like a high percentage chance. Everything like is in the loot pool. And you can run it. You've got like 3, you've got the weekend, Friday to Monday or something like that. That's it. You haven't got as long as we had with the global events. You've literally got 3 to 4 days and you have done. You have a higher percentage drop rate and it looks at your inventory on what you're missing. Maybe, I don't know. Having something like that where people have to work there and like you have to work your ass off your entire weekend and grind for it in any other content. You've still got that chance of it dropping. You've still earned it outside of the raid. And I think just having that, not once every month, but once in a blue moon, every 3 months or something, have something like that happen.
Just before we finish, just really quickly,
Yes.
because I don't know the answers to these questions. Does Destiny have raid-specific loot? And I know you don't play Destiny 2, but did Destiny 1?
Yes.
What happened to that loot that was specific to the raid after any given time? Did it come to the general loot pool, or did it always stay locked?
As far as I'm aware, the raid loot, thing is, they had an exotic chest. And you would have a chance of dropping certain weapons at the end of the encounter, much like what we've got. But it was like you had a higher percentage of dropping this exotic maybe at the end of one of the raids. So you had like, I don't know, a 20, 30, 40% split of you were going to get this weapon, or this weapon, or it was gear. You might not even get anything. You might just get materials. But at some, like, it was materials to help you. And as far as I'm aware, no, they didn't.
Right. Okay.
As far I think that's why I think the way I do, though, because having played Destiny and them not, I mean, I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, they didn't drop that, especially in Destiny 1. They didn't drop raid loot outside it because it was specific to the raid, which is why I'm kind of going back to, you know, the current raid that we've got now, me saying it's specific to the raid.
Makes me feel like I'm being less selfish and less harsh, if that's how other games have already done it, specifically a game that I didn't play.
I think the issue that we have is we have an awesome community, and obviously the first time we've got raids coming in. But you're trying to handle raids like you handle everything else, and it's not possible. In my head, it's not possible. And if you've never played a raid in a different game, I think that's what's kind of thrown you off, because you don't understand how it works in other games. You know, you've got Warcraft and Destiny and Star Wars: The Old Republic. There's all these other places that have raids, and people have had to do exactly the same things over and over again to grind for those pieces of gear. It's a looter and shooter at the end of the day. Anyway, that is it for this week. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions and feedback. Obviously, these are just our thoughts and opinions. If you disagree or if you agree, please let us know your thoughts. You can find us over at SITREP Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as all of our personal accounts. Send any questions or feedback to the show over at sitrepradio@gmail.com, or you can find us on the Discord. The link's in the show notes. That's where most people like to send questions and feedback. We want to hear your thoughts on the news and topics we cover, so be sure to leave a comment if you're checking us out on the YouTube page, and join the discussion in any of the above places that I've talked about today.
See, I would tell you that you've done that better than Rob's ever done it, but it doesn't matter because he won't listen to this anyway. So,
well, you can still tell me.
I've just told you.
Oh, thank you.
Please leave a review of the show using the podcast app of your choice. We really do enjoy reading your reviews. The feedback is usually excellent, and at the end of the day, it does actually help other people to find our show. If you listen all the way to the very end of our podcast, you will hear all the juicy details about the other awesome shows that are available on the Mash Those Buttons network. Thank you.
We do live stream. We do live stream as often as we can. So if you are interested in dropping by and chatting with us about the Division or anything else you want to talk to us about, you can check us out over at twitch.tv/SITREP Radio. I got to apologize to Luke. I did not think the show was going to go on this long. We were like, Rob's not here. It's going to be like a 20-minute episode.
Dude, it's been 90 minutes already.
I know. We did good, son. We did good. Anyway, we have been SITREP Radio, folks. Thank you very much for listening, agents, and we will catch you next week. And Robert will be back off his sunny honeymoon. And he'll still be pasty as fuck.
Pasty as fuck. I expect he'll still be hungover as well by this time next week. Gets back Monday, right? So he's got 2 days to recover.
Yeah, he's probably going to... Well, it takes him 2 days to recover anyway, so yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sequence complete. Security protocols deactivated. Server data replaced and CPU destroyed. Terminating connection in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured. Extraction